I have a question for you. Yes, you. Do you know why football/soccer is the biggest sport in the world, but, wait for it, it doesn't pay the most money to its players? I mean, the biggest companies pay the most, the best players in the world earn the most, and certainly the biggest lion in the jungle eats the most. But why doesn't football pay the most? Well, let's find out. But before we do, please make sure to like this video in honor of this legendary intro. Also hit subscribe, I need to pay some bills, guys. Football or soccer, however they say in your country, is undeniably the biggest sport in the whole entire planero globalo universalo world. Well, that's not even a real word, by the way, but that's just to signify how giant of a sport football is. It literally is played by a whopping 250 million plus people across 200 different countries all around the world, and is the primary sport of so many countries. Well, let's just take a look at a map to get an idea of how big of a sport this is. As you can see in this image, all the areas in dark green are places where football is mostly played, and it has icons known around the 7 seas and continents. I mean, who knows if they're not even known in space. But don't worry, that's a question for our alien friends when we finally get to meet them. Anyways, players like Leo Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, who respectively have the third and second most followed Instagram accounts, losing only to the #1 account, Instagram itself, which has 608 million followers at the time of this recording, to players like Neymar, Mbappe, and so many others. But somehow, this wonderful sport finds itself paying its athletes less than, for example, the NBA, which only has 30 teams and only operates in the United States and Canada. You also have the NFL, other sports, and leagues. As I said earlier, the biggest companies pay the most, and big companies are known for, you guessed it, having a shit tons of money, which lead to those companies offering bigger salaries, which in turn help the companies stay big. Common sense. And if we look at revenue across leagues, we can start to find a clue why. As you can see here, the NFL generates the most revenue across all these leagues, equaling the total revenue combined from the top 5 football leagues in Europe. But there's a problem, because it's not always, or rather only, about revenue, as the NFL, despite its massive revenue, still lags behind the NBA, which pays the most but is not even generating more than the English Premier League. Weird, huh? So then what else is making football pay less? In general, if we look at where football is played compared to where basketball, for example, is practiced, not only the US has the biggest economy in the world, it's also one of the countries with the highest standards of living. Even though athletes are paid ridiculously beyond the living standards of a normal person, this still affects their salaries on average. But to conclude, for the average football player, this might be something to think about, as revenue does matter. And if you want a better salary, change your team. If you can't, spend some time bettering your skills and overall quality. And if you still can't, remember, God's always there, so start praying now. As for the best players in football though, they are living the life and bringing home in total more than the stars of these other sports, because they play in teams with loads of money and are far more marketable. Shout out to all the marketing clubs around the world. PSG and Manchester United, you know what I mean. Alright, this is all I have for you today, guys. Let me know what you think makes football pay less down in the comments, and thanks for watching.